The room froze the moment the billionaire's voice turned sharp. The sound of glasses, quiet jazz, and soft conversation evaporated beneath the weight of his words. A tall man in an immaculate suit leaned back against his chair, looking at the young waitress as if she were invisible. He spoke confidently in Mandarin, assuming no one would understand him. He mocked her posture, her simple shoes, and even her tired face. His smile wasn't cruel, it was worse. It was casual, the kind of arrogance that came from someone who believed they were untouchable. The girl he insulted didn't flinch. Instead, she blinked once, steady, seeing the room not as wealthy strangers, but as witnesses to a moment that could define her entire life. The air was thick with humiliation waiting to happen, yet her calm held like a storm still building. If you believe in kindness, respect, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps powerful stories reach more hearts. Her name was Anna, 24 years old, and she carried the exhaustion of multiple jobs in her eyes. She worked morning shifts at a coffee shop, weekend hours at this upscale restaurant in New York, and whatever freelance translation work she could fit between studying for her teaching certification. Her mother, May, had raised her alone after coming from Taiwan with nothing but a suitcase and an American dream. Anna learned Mandarin sitting beside her mother late at night while she practiced English with a dictionary. Life was never easy, but dignity was the one thing her mother taught her to protect, without exception. Tonight, the restaurant hosted a private event for elite donors supporting an education initiative. The billionaire at the center of the table, Mr. Harrison Wu, had recently made headlines for controversial comments about poverty being a personal choice. He was the type of man who believed success made his opinions facts. The moment Anna stepped beside him to serve a bottle of wine, he treated her like part of the furniture. His Mandarin flowed smooth and mocking as he ridiculed her service, hinting that people like her would never achieve anything. He assumed she wouldn't understand. To him, she was just a waitress in an American restaurant far beneath his world. Anna's heart pinched inside her chest, but not for herself. She thought of her mother washing dishes by hand after 12-hour shifts, dreaming that her daughter would walk through life unbroken by cruelty. She thought of the nights she stayed awake translating children's books into Mandarin to keep her language alive. And she thought of the scholarship she needed. Only 10 more credits stood between her and the ability to teach languages to children who might never otherwise hear them spoken with love. She breathed deeply, feeling heat rise in her throat. She could lash out, make a scene, or let the insult carve itself into her. Instead, she chose something far more powerful. Without raising her voice or changing her expression, Anna answered him in perfect Mandarin with a tone so soft that every ear strained to hear. Her words weren't sharp, they were beautifully precise. She told him that intelligence had nothing to do with wealth, and respect wasn't something someone earned through money, but through kindness. She said her mother raised her to serve others with dignity, because the strong choose humility, not arrogance. She wished him success, but hoped someday he would succeed in being human, not just rich. The table fell into a quiet shock. A couple of the businessmen glanced at each other, uneasy, realizing what had happened. The billionaire had insulted her in front of everyone, thinking no one would understand. But she replied with grace that exposed his pride. To many of the guests, Mandarin was just a language of global business. To Anna, it was love, memory, and identity. Mr. Wu's face stiffened. For a moment, it wasn't anger that gripped him, it was confusion. He had lived so long in rooms where everyone agreed with him that contradiction felt impossible. The other guests cleared their throats, some hiding their discomfort by lifting glasses. A woman across the table bit her lip, as if deciding whether to applaud or apologize. Instead of reacting, Anna bowed her head slightly and continued her work, her quiet dignity louder than any confrontation. The night continued, but the atmosphere shifted. The billionaire tried to steer conversations toward his achievements, but something had collapsed inside him. His arrogance had been witnessed and mirrored back as fragility. More importantly, several donors noticed Anna, not as a nameless server, but as a woman of depth and courage. A professor from Columbia who sat nearby asked the manager about her. A quiet philanthropist whispered that people like her were why education mattered in the first place. After the event, when the guests had left and the restaurant dimmed its lights, Anna collected her tips. Her hands trembled, not from fear but from the emotional weight of staying calm in the face of cruelty. She didn't know anyone had heard what she said clearly. She didn't know that anyone would care. She just knew she had honored her mother's sacrifice. The manager approached her with a thoughtful expression, explaining that 2 donors asked for her contact information regarding potential scholarships for language programs. Tears swelled in Anna's eyes, but she held them back. She wasn't someone who believed dreams were handed out like gifts, not until that moment. 3 weeks later, a letter arrived at their small apartment in Brooklyn. Anna had been awarded a scholarship that covered her remaining credits, plus additional funding for a Mandarin language teaching initiative. Her mother sobbed quietly, holding the letter like fragile glass. She touched Anna's face and whispered that no humiliation stays when truth is spoken with kindness. Anna hugged her mother tightly, cocooned in pride and relief. She thought of that night, of the billionaire who tried to belittle her, and the room full of people who understood grace when they witnessed it. But life wasn't finished with its surprises. At the official ceremony announcing the scholarship program, Mr. Wu attended as one of the public sponsors. Anna's heart thudded painfully when she saw him on stage. He seemed smaller than before, not physically, but emotionally. When the ceremony ended, he found Anna standing near the exit. His voice was quiet, stripped of ego. He apologized, explaining that her words had followed him for days, turning into questions he couldn't ignore. He told her he wanted to support the program anonymously, to ensure children from immigrant families could keep their languages alive while becoming part of the American story. Anna didn't know whether to forgive him completely, but she recognized sincerity. Sometimes people break because they've never been challenged to grow. She offered him a nod, not approval, but acceptance of change. In that moment, she understood something deep. Power isn't controlling others, it's inspiring them to rise above their flaws. As Anna walked away from the stage, the future didn't look perfect. It looked earned. She had faced cruelty without surrendering to bitterness. She protected her language, her heritage, and her dignity in one breath spoken across cultures. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring true-style stories. Your support helps more people discover these messages. Before the ending, comment below. What would you have done in Anna's place? Did her response inspire you? Anna taught her first class in a small community center months later. Children laughed as she told stories in Mandarin, then explained their meanings in English. Her mother watched from the back row, eyes filled with pride. When Anna wrote new characters on the board, she remembered the night that tested her, the night that tried to make her small, but instead revealed how enormous kindness can be. In a world hungry for power, she learned the rarest strength was staying gentle.